I've got a nice little painting to do today. I recently returned from Jersey in the Channel Islands, and I've got so many reference pictures. You can see the one on the screen there. This, I've sketched it out, but this is my reference photograph. This is Orgueil on the Channel Islands. And look at these lovely challenges I've got here. Lots and lots of detail, beautiful colours. Some nice phthalo greeny blue there and cerulean there. But look at the sky. How am I going to do that? And all the detail on these boats. I mean, clearly you have to simplify. There's no question, you can't do all the detail. In fact, if you did too much detail, it would detract somewhat from it, actually. So you just want to get an impression, but enough detail to make it interesting and keep the viewer interested. So, as you can see, I've sketched it out, and I'm going to start off, I think, with the sky. How do I do wet on wet, or just, I think I might just get some cerulean and not wet it as such, but just put in my blue cerulean and see if we can leave areas of white for our clouds. I mean, there are darker blues, of course. I could use a little bit of ultramarine as well there, but I think I'm going to just start off with a little dab in these. This is the castle. It doesn't matter if we go over that because it's going to be darker anyway. But let's just leave that, bring it right down to the sea there. Right round the castle there. I think we can do that. And then I think I'm going to go straight in for those darker areas when it's wet. And get some ultramarine in there, fairly strong. Can do that. The skies were just amazing there. So I think I'm going to leave that. I might just soften up though some of those edges. Right. Come right down behind the mast of this ship. It's a lovely yacht. Here. Let's leave it like that, I think. Although let's be a bit bold and put in a little bit more ultramarine because it's going to dry. I've got to remember it's going to dry a lot lighter. So how do you judge this? That's the thing. Right, let's leave it that. Let's see. Looking for the happy accident, of course. It's what you want. Got to be mindful not to recognize a good accident. Not fiddle too much. I can see those hard edges, which I don't want. At this point, I come right down on that, so help silhouette the shape of this old medieval castle there. Right, let's leave it there. And then where should we go for? Here along this is a sort of bit of the harbour wall, so I'm going to get a little bit of raw sienna, I think, sort of greyish. Let's see what we can come up with. Yes, greyish, bluish, a variety of different colours in there. I think we'll put a little few touches of dark, some brown there, perhaps a little bit of black as well. I don't usually use black, but there's a little bit of dark needed, I think, especially along there. Right, and the pathway here, cycle track, we'll leave that. Right, now I think perhaps I've got to get something in of this sandy colour, so I've got some Naples yellow. I mean, it's not a bright yellow on our reference picture, but let's put some ochre with it as well. I'm using a big brush at the moment. Yes, I can do that. A little bit of yellow there. I can contrast it with the edge of this sea wall there. I'll come up a little bit behind that boat there. Right, let's leave that for the moment. There's a darker area over here which I've got to try and get in. So I'm trying to keep it loose and fresh and luminous, which is a feature of watercolour, which a lot of people like. I certainly like. So let's stay with this bigger brush. I'm tempted to go straight away to a small, but I'm resisting that. This is much darker here. It's got some Payne's grey as well here. I might use a bit of that. I want to have a section. This is quite dark in there. Sort of line there. In fact, it's all coming along here. So we'll get that in, I think. There's a tremendous tidal fall here. Over 40 feet, I think it is, on every 12 hours. So this is out at the moment, tide out. It comes rushing in. Got to be careful not to get caught by the tidal. Got a shadow coming under here as well. Do that. We'll tighten up on that, but let's just get a little hint in here. Yes. Okay. Splattering there. Let's leave that for the moment. Although put a texture in that wall. When it's a little bit damp, because I want it to stand out from that pavement here, which is a different tone, and the sea and the sand here. So I can put some flecks, different colours in that. And this perspective helps lead our eye into the picture. I think we'll leave it there. Right. Now I think we ought to try and put something of the castle in. So let's get a bit smaller brush. I've got a little bit more control over it. So I think I'm going to go to one of my little Chinese brushes, these calligraphy brushes. You've got a little bit of a point on it as well, which you can shape to various forms that you want. So let me get some raw sienna here. Some darks with it. Parts of it are grey, parts of it are brown. So we've got to make sure we've got some variety in it so we can see some form to it. If we have it all the same tone, it's going to look flat. So I don't want to do that. So let me just make a stab with some of this to start me off. And there's some green along here which I'll get in a little while. But the sun is throughout the day gives you a different shadow pattern on the castle. As I say, this is a medieval building. If these walls could talk, my, they could tell us some tales, couldn't they? Battlements and various forms there. Gives the shapes. We could put in a lot of detail if we want. I might be tempted to do that, but at the moment I just want to get a general shape for it, really. I could use some of this darker colour while I'm here to put a bit of dark on this sea wall. Shows where the tide comes up right onto this wall, and also on that back wall there. And let's make sure we've got some of that covered as well. And it comes about along here. Right up to here. And there's a line of houses, and on the harbour side there, very nice restaurants, businesses there. Right, there we go. Let's leave that for the moment. Perhaps darken still a bit further here. Yes, looking at my reference now, I can see I need much darker in here. Right, leave it at that. And now let's make sure I've got some darker faces to this. Which will help. Yes, this. I want to try and preserve some of the lights as well. It comes down. Right, let's get some light there. Behind these houses. I'll go in with a smaller brush in a moment. We do some work on the houses. Right. Let's get a smaller brush, and or should we? Now let's get a bit of the shape of the green in. So I've got some sap green, meridian, some hookers as well, which is a great green to use to mix. And if I need to make it darker, of course I can put a little bit of ultramarine in it. Take it down a little bit. Yes, I want some darks here. Low at the top of these houses here. So you can use the point of this Chinese brush. Helps a little bit, give you a little bit more control. Let's make sure I vary this green. Let's go a little bit of straight sap here. Yes, I think that comes up like this pretty much. Right. Okay, let's leave that. Keep a bit of a feathery edge there. Help with the vegetation. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of garden. I walked all up here actually, right to the top. Right, let's leave that. We've got a hint of green in our seaweed here, places. Do that. Smooth it, soften it, a bit of water. Right, now I think we ought to try and get a smaller brush and put some colours into the houses along that bank there. So let's get a small brush. I use a variety of brushes. This is a round aqualine to there, like that. And then go back to this black. Yes. Right, we could do that. Got a propeller there. Got lots of little features, of course. You've got to get on a boat. We can put those in as we go. Little rails and all sorts of boat paraphernalia. That's it. A little bit of dry brush there. Help blend that. And then I've got to get the little bits of the superstructure here, a little cabin area. The lights go on there. These two things holding up. Lots of paraphernalia, you just can't do it all. Should we put that mast in now? Or actually, well, we've got a nice green here. I can put some of that sail, which is all wrapped up on here. This sail What's up there? Sail bag? What do they call that? I don't know. Stored away. All neat. And right, let's get them. Oh, I got a little orange. Have I got an orange on here? Yes, I have. I can see a nice. Gosh, how did that get that dirty? That's not orange. Right. Now let's there are other boats actually. Could try and hint at them. A little. This one out here. Little rowboats and ribs and the rest of that seawall, slightly different colour. So just a little bit redder there to raise that wall up a little bit. Back wall there. Right. Now let's put a bit of different colours in these boats. A little white as well. I think we ought to put in. Although you can see, let's get this one so it stands out against that wall there. Got a few rowboats left, little ribs there. Yes, I need to put quite a lot more detail in really. Now what can I do for that mast? Let's see. Yes, I've got a nice colour here now. We could, about like this, a little bit showing there. Different browns. Always got a lot of wood. Try to vary the colours, make some interest. Bit of dry brush. This was a cycle track. On here. out the lines a bit. Make it a little bit more solid looking. And we need to put some more seaweed and some marks here. More shadow. So a good way to get a shadow is a bit of blue, a bit of red or purple. You can make a nice shadowy colour with that. Yes, we'll do that. A little bit too red. Drop a bit more blue into there. Can do it. And I've got to put the rest of that. I think I could probably get a bit of shadow here. Bring that down a little bit there. Right, we need to get the rails in and all sorts of different paraphernalia to make it work. Well, we need to get some white lines along here as well. Actually, there's a little bit too much curve on that, so let's bring that up a bit. And we'll give some shadow to that as well. Amazing how a bit of shadow can help delineate a shape a little bit better. Right, now let's get back and finish off some of this rigging on this boat. That's something there. A bit of wood in, some darker elements there. Got to put some of those rails that they have as well. And I can see a little foresail there. Looks a little reddish, a little coppery red, so let's get a bit of orange with a little bit of red there. And we need more red. Let's have a look. Yes, I think we can do that. It's coming down to here, isn't it? Yes, so It's all filled up. That's it. So building at the end there. Harbour Master maybe. A bit more colour there. Right, how is it coming on? Now I'm looking at the can see lots of paraphernalia on these boats. How much should I put in? That's the question. I think we could have a nice blue one there though. Little ribs here and there. See, there were a lot of boats actually. I think if we put in the odd mast it might help too. Do I need to tighten up on those buildings? I think I do really. I can do with maybe a bit of ink. A little bit of ink. Could do that. Oh, down here we've got sort of ladders and darken that wall up a bit. I think we need that. You've got to give enough information for people to see clearly what it is. If you fill enough information, the eye will fill in the rest. But it's got to be enough though to make it read. If I squint my eyes, I can see where I need darker bits. Right, let's I need to get lots of lines in actually. Certainly a lot of them. On a yacht like this, holding the mast up. Shrouds, I think they're called. This big one here. Shouldn't have been there. If you've got good quality paper like this, this is 300 GSM, £140 that is. You can sometimes get away with some error. You can erase it with a bit of water and do here. Got aerials, and let's get another couple of lines in. Got one comes from here. Got to put some detail with the aerials and things like that, I think. Oh, I need to get a line coming from there to there though. Let's get that down. From here, yes, it goes up here. Right. Okay. Got a little aerial there and a light. Navigation light up the top there. A little sea showing behind there. Yes, and that's, I better make contact with that. It's not going to hold that sail, that beam up, is it? Right. So, right, I think I'll leave it there for the moment and then come back a little bit later when I've done a bit more detail, as my battery is nearly out, so I'll charge up and come back. Well, there is my finished painting of Gorey Castle and Gorey Harbour in the Channel Islands, Jersey and the Channel Islands. I've done a few things since the camera went off. Obviously put a few details on the boats, the Plimsoll line and the different buoys, and did some work on this boat as well, and generally improved the line of these houses here. A little bit of ink here and there, and some gouache to add some highlights to it. But I'm just looking now, and I haven't put in a flagpole, which I think goes, look at my reference, not that critical. Oh yes, I can see it goes on. Got two flagpoles, one here and one here. So a few features, and improved the layout of the castle as well. I missed out these little bits of the battlements here. I don't know if you can see that. It's all ruins, and it's been there since 1100 and something, so will look a little battered, I think. But as I can just add a few highlights with a little bit of designer's gouache. But anyway, if you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and consider subscribing if you haven't already done that. And also any comments. I'm interested to hear if you've got any ideas, whether you paint or not. It's good to have some feedback. Anyway, thanks for watching.